Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Folks, this is Philip Lomboy. Welcome to the show. Now, if you are a coach or consultant that's considering using content marketing to attract new clients, but aren't sure where to start, then you'll want to tune in to today's episode. Content marketing has gained quite a bit of traction in the last few years, especially compared to traditional marketing and advertising methods. A recent study by Kapost and Eloqua showed that content marketing had lower upfront costs and longer-term benefits as compared to paid advertising. And another study by demandmetric found that inbound content marketing costs 62% less than outbound marketing and generates 3 times as many leads. Today we're speaking with Tricia Prues, who provides content marketing support services for busy entrepreneurs. She'll be sharing the common pitfalls committed by content marketing newbies and how to avoid them. I'm very excited to share this conversation with you. Let's jump right into it now with Tricia Prues. Tricia Prues, welcome to the show. Really appreciate having you on here. And so I want to talk today about you and how you help your clients, and specifically around content marketing. Big topic, I know, but I think we can, with your help, we can get to some of the specifics and even helping people that might find themselves in a bit of a pickle with it. So again, thank you for coming on.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So Tricia, tell us about you. Tell us about what you do, how you help clients, and kind of go from there.
I like to say that I take care of all the things that drive people nuts so that they don't have to do it. And things, okay, that could be so many things. I'm not going to cook you breakfast, but like when it comes to editing and when it comes to helping with content marketing and getting different information out to help your audience, to help clients so they can learn more about whatever product or service you're offering, or just to help people and get them more information to help their lives. So editing in terms of written content, it's get your brilliant ideas down on paper. Send them over to me and I will help you clear it up and put your message out there the way you want it to be seen. And you don't have to worry about cleaning it up and wondering how this sentence is supposed to go together. Just like, let me do that. And then helping with ideas. Sometimes people just really aren't sure how to go about getting information out in front of their audience. There's this mental block of, I don't know how to do this. I'm not good at writing. I'm not good at videos. I'm not good at X, Y, and Z. Well, you're a lot better than you think you are. And let's help you along the way, whatever that looks like.
When it comes to content marketing itself, why do you see that a lot of the people that you work with are kind of gravitating to that versus like traditional forms of marketing themselves or putting themselves out there like advertising or other methods?
It's where people are. You go to where people are. And a lot of that looks like social media. And there's a lot of social media presence with people on Facebook. That's where a lot of people are gravitating now. And then sometimes newsletters, email lists, blogs. People love subscribing to blogs. And it's like the hot thing to do. Yes, I will subscribe to your blog. And people love consuming information. And that's a really great avenue to take, as opposed to, we're in just a different generation of how we're marketing ourselves and how we're helping people. And there's so many different ways to do it when you're in the online space.
To your point that you said, like, that's where people are. So is it such that people aren't into watching ads or, getting pitched or that type? Is that, do those things not work anymore? Is that what you're saying?
They can work. Before those are going to work, people talk about the know, like, and trust factor. Before I want to buy from you, I want to know who you are. I want to like you and I want to trust you. And so once you provide me with valuable information, then I'm more likely to look into your product and to consider what you have to offer me. And so you'll see a lot of things in ads where people will be offering this really great information and then they'll follow with the sale. And that's a really important thing to do, is to provide value And once you've kind of warmed people up a little bit, then you can ease into a sale, as opposed to these huge billboards or ads saying, hey, come buy my stuff because it's really great.
Mm-hmm. So really more about, like you said, building that trust before you ask them to spend money with you. Right?
Absolutely.
So content marketing is a way to kind of build trust. You know, somebody listening to this, they're a coach, they're a consultant, they're like, there may be some challenges they run into. Maybe somebody thinks this, or maybe you've seen people talk about it in this way, but it's not really the case.
Mm-hmm. One is people have probably seen it done poorly. And one way to do that poorly is to go straight for the sale. Some people can pull it off, not always. So you see, we look at content marketing and we see what people are putting out there. And we're like, okay, I'm tired of hearing about how great your stuff is. And so if I'm starting in content marketing, then I'm thinking, I don't want people to see that or feel that way. So I don't even know if I want to mess with it. Or there's another idea that's thought that some people have of, I just don't know how to do it. It's got to be perfect. This person says to do it this way. This person says to do it this way. I don't know what to do. And people get stuck in the jumping phase, just moving forward and putting something out there. Because while there are these wildly successful people who do it this way, a certain way, that doesn't mean that that's the way that you have to do it. And that's just, it's just trying something out. And if it doesn't work, you give it a fair go. Okay, let's tweak how I'm doing this and maybe see how some other people are doing it. So a lot of it is mental blocks that people have because they worry about, what if it comes off as too salesy or just ucky, or I don't know how to do this. Sometimes it's just technical know-how that people, they just want to do what they do well. And I don't want to mess with this other stuff. It's a pain.
You mentioned technical know-how. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Sometimes it's a matter of, how do I share something on Facebook? How do I get it in front of people? What's a blog? What is website hosting? What are email lists? And there's nothing wrong with not knowing. We all start out in that place. And so some of the technical know-how is just, some people will schedule social media posts, meaning you put things in this software program and it kind of does it for you. What in the world is that? How am I going to figure out these different things?
So what you're talking about there is you're talking about distribution, like getting it out there, right? And I think when you're mentioning some of those things like Facebook posts and the blogs and stuff like that, but as far as content marketing goes, you're saying that you got to do that, right? I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, it's the name of the game. Right. And people have so much brilliant content and they need to move towards getting it out there. And at the end of the day, if we're out and we're in business, we want to have people pay us. And kind of the first way to make your way into that is getting good information out there for people and moving from brilliant ideas to, okay, marketing with these ideas and helping people learn more how to help themselves.
So again, in kind of like the two pieces there, from what I'm understanding, that's the content and the information piece, but then there's the second piece, which is like the technical aspect of it. It sounds like it's a necessary evil. It's an inherent part of this content marketing. I can understand how that is a big deal because it's actually both those pieces could be very big, very, very daunting. How do people get past those fears about that?
Some people, I don't even want to do it, period. I'm just gonna I don't even want to think about it. I never want to try it. I don't want to bang my head up against the wall so someone can have it. Whereas other people do see what it's like to start out in the entrepreneurial space and kind of get along their way and see how things are going. And then it might get a little more frustrating. They're doing more work with clients or they're doing things that are paying them more, and they're realizing I'm putting more and more time into this thing and I'm losing time, and not only losing time for my business, but losing time for my family. I mean, I want to work with my clients, and a lot of us get into the entrepreneurial space because we want more time freedom, and that can happen sometimes, other times not so much. And what can help with that time freedom is bringing someone onto your team. But sometimes it does take getting to that pain point where you recognize that you're having to compromise things that you really don't want to compromise. And I think everybody hits that at a different time. Some people see it in the very beginning and can kind of let go of that control. Because for a lot of us, it's a control thing. Either I feel like I should do it all and I should be able to, or I just straight up don't trust people with my passwords, with they could make me look bad online. And there's just a lot of fears that people have. And I mean, they're legitimate fears. That's okay. And so it's good to really get with somebody and move past those fears, because they don't have to be as much of a hindrance as they are for a lot of us in that space.
So, but I think one thing you touched on is time freedom, right? Not just in your business, but also with your family. Most of us, I'd say, are not entrepreneurs just for itself, right? It's like, okay, right. we want that freedom, we want income, we want all that to be able to enjoy the other things that are important in our lives. And for I think a majority of us, it is family. Right. But I think one thing with content marketing is that the shelf life for content marketing is much longer as well. Is that fair to say?
Right. What you put out there, double-edged sword. What you put out there is forever. Oh man, what you put out there. And yeah, that's true. If you're putting out good quality content, then that's great. And let's all lean towards that, right? And that is, it's the amazing thing about blogging and social media and different things is it can extend and extend. And I mean, sometimes we'll go into Facebook and see, wow, this is an old post, but yeah, post from 3 years ago. Well, what do you know? Someone found it and it's serving them at that moment in time. Or you'll Google something and, oh, wow, this blog post from 8 years ago is still here because it's helping people. Same with YouTube. You may have experienced searching in YouTube and you'll see, 3 days ago or 3.5 years ago. And it's just, if it's quality content and it's going to serve people possibly for years and years.
It's like, yeah, you just do it once and then it's still out there. Like you're not doing any additional work necessarily.
Right. And the beautiful thing about the online space is you can take one piece of content and do what's called repurposing. Say I do a video and I talk about grooming dogs and people can watch the video. Great. Well, from that, from one video, I could do 2 weeks worth of social media posts, little snippets from wisdom that came from that video. Or I could do a blog post, or I could take that Facebook video and move it over to YouTube. I could take that YouTube video and put it in an email to my subscriber list. And you can take one piece of content and use it so many different ways. Maybe you take a compilation of YouTube videos and put it for sale. Awesome. That's just the brilliance of technology and being able to use one piece of content in so many different ways. And the great thing with evergreen content, that being things that aren't necessarily season specific or something that's going on in politics or whatever it may be, is you could even space it out. You don't have to take one thing and vomit it everywhere on the internet. You could say, hey, you know what? I think this might work well for a course I want to do in 6 to 8 months. And chances are, unless someone's a super stalker, they're not going to be on every avenue seeing every single thing you're putting out there. And if they like you that much, then they're probably not going to mind seeing things more here and there. If you've built up enough trust, know, like, and trust factor, then they're going to say, oh, okay, cool. Or they're going to say, I don't really feel like looking at this. And maybe they'll come back in a few days. And it's generally, if your audience loves you because you're serving them well, they're going to be loyal, even if they see you put a couple things a few different ways. And then if it irritates them, they'll just take a break. Or if they go, then maybe you're not the best fit to provide for them anymore. Sometimes we move on from the people we're learning from, and that's okay. I'm not always going to be able to serve people. I hope that I take someone to the point where they can move above and beyond. And that's the goal in helping people, is we want to elevate them. And when we elevate them, sometimes we let them go, like, go blossom, flourish, young grasshopper. It's awesome.
Well, there's a couple of good points in there, though. So in terms of like the content marketing itself, like to your point, it doesn't have to be such that it's like a shotgun explosion of like, okay, here's the one bit of, I created a blog post, and then now on the same day, go out all these different places, right? And these different things. It's like you can introduce a timing and a delay kind of aspect to it as well, especially to your point of like if it's like evergreen content, right? But I think even more so is what you said about kind of maybe you're just not serving each other anymore. Not necessarily, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Right.
I mean, how did you come to that point of having that kind of acceptance?
I don't want to be like, oh, I'm so nice and I love people and I want to help people, but I have a heart to give and to serve, and I want to respect where people are and honor where they are and help them move forward. And if I can help someone get to the point where they feel confident doing something on their own, sweet. Because if I'm going to keep trying to please people, people can smell desperation a mile away. And they know when we're like, oh no, please don't go. Please keep paying me, please. and then I think there's a point at which things could get stale. And I want to be excited about what I'm doing. I want you to be excited about what we're doing together. And then it may last a long time. It may not. And there's an acceptance there. And I think that comes from having a healthy attitude of serving and giving, not necessarily being so focused on my success, but rather being focused on your success.
So we talked a bit about like some of the pros and cons, why people would want to do this content marketing thing. If it's something that would even be a fit for them. For the ones that start going forward with it, what have you found have been kind of some common mistakes that they've kind of run into, that people kind of trip over a little bit when they start content marketing?
One thing I have seen is people go, all right, I'm just going to give everything because I have so many brilliant ideas and I want to get them out there and it's going to be great. And then they go, oh no, I have a week of things to help people and then I have nothing else. So pacing yourself, because it is very exciting. All right, I'm going to post on Facebook. I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to do a newsletter. This is awesome. I'm going to help people and it's going to be great. But when we give, then we don't have much left. And people want things that are bite-sized too. A lot of us aren't going to read something that's 600-700 words, but we love 100-200 words. 30-minute video, I'll watch a 2 to 3 minute video. Give me everything you got in 3 minutes. Sweet. And another thing that people need to think about is how well or not well you're delivering it. Because there are some people who, totally not judging here, they just don't get along with the English language very well. And that's okay. And you don't want that to hinder you when you're getting these brilliant ideas out there. And it's good to get help from somebody to kind of get started and they clean things up a little bit. It doesn't mean you have to hire someone for $500 an hour to help you. It's just maybe getting a little bit of help on board or having a friend read things over. It doesn't have to be paid. It's just allowing yourself to be vulnerable and ask for help, because we may feel like we're an expert in this area. And so we should just be able to do it. And we're kind of worried about going, actually, I don't know that I feel really comfortable with this. So I should have someone help me, but I don't know if I want to. Does that make me look weak or ignorant or incapable? And it doesn't. And you don't have to necessarily do it the right way when you get out there, and just tweaking things as you go along. Some people, I got to do it this way. I got to do it this way. Well, try it. Don't work. Try something else.
Kind of like just be okay with making some initial mistakes, but just keep on going with it. Also, for somebody, you mentioned though, as far as like getting ideas out and that type of thing, and that there are going to be some of those people that, you know, it's just kind of natural for them. They have a lot of ideas. They've got a lot of stuff that's just ready to jump out of their brain. But for the people that kind of struggle with that, right? Kind of like generating their own ideas for like, oh, I want to talk about this or I want to talk about this. Where would you suggest they go to kind of help them generate those ideas of where they could start kind of creating content?
A lot of times it's starting where they are, and say you're really engaged on social media. And I don't like putting Facebook on a pedestal, but it's served a lot of people really well in their personal and professional lives. So even posting on your personal Facebook profile, hey, I'm looking for some help with this. And you might just get a slew of comments and you go, wow, I didn't know that was possible. Or if you're in groups, I mean, there's so many people out there who want to help. And just by us taking the step and asking for help, it opens up so many doors, because we can feeling insecure is kind of, there's an aspect of pride in there, because we want to look good, feel good, and just kind of letting that pride go and letting the insecurity go and just opening ourselves up. It just opens so many doors, because if people don't know that we need help, they can't help us. And so many people want to help and see us succeed.
That's great. Tricia, can you share a story or so, or maybe, some examples of like when you were able to help some folks kind of go through that process and help them not only create content, but even distributing it?
Sure, absolutely. I have one client has had a bridal design, gown design, like brick and mortar business for however many years. And she wants to get into the online space. She wanted to get into the online space. And there's so much out there to consume about how to do it and what approaches to take. And she happened to see a post in one Facebook group that I commented on a post offering to help someone else, and she saw it and said, yes, and put the little SOS emoji up there. And she told me, I just want to sew. I want to get into the online space and I want to help people, but I want to sew. I want to let somebody else do the other stuff. And so she said, I have these notebooks of ideas that I'll jot down. And I said, send them to me. And she sent me a little brochure, and I've looked at a couple things that she's jotted down, and then I'll write a blog post or I'll put social media posts together. And when she first read a couple of them, she goes, oh my gosh, I love how you write from my voice, and you're helping this dream come true of getting in the online space. And I absolutely love this. And I put some social media graphics together for her, and like little pictures and words on them or comments, and put those up. And she goes, Tricia, I'm getting so many comments from friends and friends of friends and how much they love the social media post. And like, you are making this happen. And this is so great. And thank you for taking this off of my shoulders and helping me make this happen. And it's so cool to see someone go from having all these amazing ideas in their head, maybe on paper also, pulling that from them and making it pretty and tying it up into a bow and then putting it out for the world to see and to help them learning and whatever else they could use in there. In this case, in brides, learning about a gown and how they can, look their best, feel their best on their wedding day.
Well, that's a great example right there. Like, again, kind of like one of the two that we talked about, as far as there's somebody that has tried it on their own. They've kind of felt the pain. They're like, okay, I need some help. But then there's somebody that knows enough that, hey, I want to do what I enjoy doing, and that the thing that I'm good at, help me with the other stuff. And, you kind of come in there like, shining and like, yes, I can do it. But, and then on top of that, like you wrote the stuff for her, right? Mm-hmm. So she didn't even do that. And like, and that was an interesting thing that you said, is that when she commented to you that you did it in her voice. What does that mean? To write in someone's voice, what does that mean?
Right. And one of the terms people will use is ghostwriting, which sounds kind of weird, but you take someone's content and we embrace their personality. And getting on a phone call with her initially was wonderful because I could really get a feel for her personality. And then we're able to read some of the things that they've done and see some of the things that they've done and write as if we're putting ourselves in their shoes and we are serving their audience in that way. And this particular client is super easy for me to write for because we get along very, very well. And so sometimes it's a good fit, sometimes it's not. And it's just finding people that you can really mesh with and understand their brain and their thinking, and then taking their brilliant ideas. And it's not just making stuff up. It's taking this bit of information and then breaking it down and then putting it into something that will make it easy to digest for the people who are consuming it.
That's interesting that you bring up the term like ghostwriting as well. I know we could spend a whole hour just talking about this thing alone, but she was in this particular case, your client was fine with you kind of putting her ideas into her words. Like, she didn't have to feel like she needed to own that process. Right.
And some people do. Some people do not want it disclosed that their work is ghostwritten, and other people go, that's fine. People still know that I'm serving them and providing quality content. And then that just, either way, you're embracing that person's voice, attitude, personality, and it takes some research too. But a lot of people go, great, you do this, take it, run with it. I mean, look at athletes who have books written. Michael Jordan isn't sitting down writing a whole long book. He's doing what he does best, and someone is writing the book and telling his story.
Because he's a basketball player. He's not a writer.
Exactly. And he doesn't have to be a writer. He does what he does best, and he has people who help him along the way, doing the things that can help people in a way that he might not be best at, but he still has the wisdom and the knowledge and the experience to help people in other avenues.
It seems like that in and of itself is amazing to me, of like, being able to kind of like step into somebody else's shoes and actually, get their words out as well, even on the technical side of things. How did you get into this? How did you get the bug for helping people with their editing and the technical sides of things, and like, taking stuff off their plate? Like what got into you to to make this happen for yourself and just do it?
Right. Well, all my life, I was the grammar wench or whatever you want to call. And I loved writing. I was good at it. I loved helping people with their writing, and people would come to me, hey, will you help me with this piece, or help me with my resume, or hey, I'm applying for a promotion at work. Will you help me with the essay? Different things like that. And I found that people just were so relieved to get that help. And it was just, it was never a thing for me. I knew I was good at it, but I didn't really try to make a career out of it or anything, partially because I thought I would have to get an English degree and work at a newspaper. And the thought of that makes me want to barf. Like, newspaper people out there, I love you. That's great. That's not my jam. And so I went into another avenue. I served in social work for a while. And then I was doing a little bit of life coaching, and a friend of mine, she goes, you really seem to have a knack for this editing thing. And we were in a group coaching program together. And I said, hey, do you think that this person would benefit from some editing on her pieces? And she said, yeah, offer it. Great. And then she goes, you know what? I want you to take my editing test. And it's kind of this test where you go through and you edit a piece, and then it's evaluated to see how it goes. And she goes, you are a natural born editor. Why aren't you editing? And I said, I don't know. I thought I had to work for a newspaper. And she goes, no, you don't. And she just kind of took me under her wing. And it was so much fun. And I realized, yes, I can do this. I'm talented. I'm skilled. I'm experienced, even though it's not something I'd put on a resume. I have helped people, and a lot of people don't care what your credentials are. They want to know that you can help them with their problem. And I've helped people with their problem, and it's awesome. And then it's blossomed into not just editing a piece of like a novel, or editing a coaching manual, anything like that. It's how can you help me in these other areas? And it happened pretty organically. I talked to someone about editing, and she goes, yeah, and I'm thinking about doing this. And I said, well, I can help with that too. Not to try to make myself a jack of all trades, but I've learned these things. And in a lot of things out there, there's an aspect of editing, regardless of what it is. If there's any written content that I'm helping you with, I'm not just going to take your stuff and put it out there. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to edit it if it needs to be edited. And it kind of just happened. And it's just been really cool to see how people have been able to do their thing. And then I can take the load off of their chest, and they can focus on what they do best.
Were there any challenges that you kind of, like, significant things that you kind of ran into early on where it was like, oh, shoot, that was a big problem and I'm not going to do that anymore? Kind of like a learning situation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I was afraid to ask for help because I didn't want to seem like, basically, I didn't want to seem ignorant, or saying, hey, I could use a little more time with this because I want to please people. I want them to like their work, but I also don't want to compromise because I'm trying to be super efficient and awesome and amazing. And just, I've learned to, hey, ask for an extended deadline. Most of the time people will give it to you. And then just being able to embrace me and know that people are going to understand what's going on if they know that I care and I want to do a good job and they want me to do a good job. So, okay, let's work together. So, I mean, really fears and insecurities of what people are going to think because I want to be great. And honestly, when people see you struggle and work through it and learn, they see greatness in that. Because they see a humility and an eagerness to better yourself and move along in your professional and personal growth.
But people can be afraid of going back for that clarification or having those additional conversations because it makes them like, I think you mentioned even earlier when in our conversation, like they might have this feeling that it makes them look weak, right? Because why didn't you ask me in the first place, or whatever it might be, or like, didn't you know what the expectations were? And but it sounds like your experience has been such that that's not the type of reaction that you get.
Right. Yeah. And if you do get a reaction like that, they might not be a good fit.
Yeah, right.
And then just move on.
Right.
But yeah, it's people want you, a lot of people, if their heart is in the right place, they want you to be transparent. And when you show that you want to fix something or do something better in the future and are solution focused, then they're probably going to want to stick with you because you're being authentic and transparent and genuine and caring.
I like what you're saying too. I think you've alluded to it a couple times in our chat here. Is there's a fit. The fit may be there initially. Maybe the fit changes. It no longer fits after a certain period of time, or maybe there's a better fit with somebody else. But if you're focused on serving as opposed to keeping or getting, then it's not going to be as difficult to make that kind of separation if it's necessary, right? Because ultimately, hey, you got to have that honesty. Like, well, is this really still working out the best for both of us in this relationship, this business relationship, right? That's awesome. As far as coaches and consultants, small business owners that are considering, they're like, okay, content marketing. What would you say is the most important question that they need to ask themselves before they jump into it?
Am I ready to release this aspect of control? And am I ready to allow someone to come in and help and not be all up in their business, but like it, I mean, let's be honest, I could really screw up a lot of people's lives because I have access to a lot of sensitive information.
Sure.
So, and it's a matter of trust and finding someone who is trustworthy and like, I'm not going to sell your information. But you got to be ready for that. And you got to say, okay, am I ready to kind of release some of this control? Because if you're not ready, you're going to have a really hard time connecting with someone and finding someone without always worrying, well, what if this? What if that?
Like exchanging one worry in terms of like things not getting done with the worry of, oh shoot, something bad's gonna happen. I'd say that's really informative. As far as like people that are looking to start content marketing, or even like getting help along those lines, as they consider working with somebody in particular, or they're making a decision, looking for someone, evaluating potential people to work with. What's one thing that they really need to consider? What's like the top thing you'd say they need to consider when making that choice?
Personality. If two people don't mesh, it's not going to happen. And a great way to get a feel for that is getting on a phone call or a video chat, because written emails, things like that, back and forth, it's just really hard to get a feel for someone's personality. But you really get on a call, video, and get a feel for their personality. And I mean, if we go with our gut, if our gut's telling us that's just not going to work, then we kind of know. Or, oh my gosh, this is so great, I'm going to love working with this person. And if there's some gray area, there's gray area. And we ask a few more questions and are able to kind of navigate what that looks like. But really, personality is bigger than skill. I mean, people can learn to do skills. You can't always teach someone character.
Tricia Prues, this was awesome. I think a lot of people that find their way to this are going to get a lot of value. if they wanted to get more about you, or just connect with you, or even like if they're looking at considering some of the things that you're offering or whatever, where can they go to get that?
They can go to my website, triciaprues.com. There's information up there about what I offer. There's also a newsletter sign up, and I send little tips every week just about writing or producing good content. Or they can email me. I look at and respond to every email that I get. So Tricia@triciaprues.com, and find me on social media, Tricia Prues Editing. And I'd love to connect. If you want to get on a video chat, cool. I'm up for whatever.
Awesome. Tricia, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.